to Spitfire Save the Matches Radio. We
Okay.
love to hear about your career in music ventures and modeling. Do you model? Because I see a lot of nice pictures. This seems as if you
I mean,
maybe.
I could, I don't mind if, somebody came up and was like, "Yo, here's this contract. I want you to do some clothes. Here's some runway." I could. That's not the main focus, but I
Mhm.
could.
Well, when you say you're an entertainer, I mean you could do a little bit of everything. I mean,
Just
acting.
about.
Is acting in there too? Maybe.
Yo, so I was in this play a few years ago and I learned to cry on cue. That was the scariest thing. I thought I was crazy. And I did it multiple times, like trying to do the takes. And I was like, yo, this is like a superpower. It's weird, but I definitely want to tap into that in the future.
That is a skill. Like,
Yeah.
I thought every woman had that superpower.
Nah, see, because they be playing.
you got this single, "Call Me," and I had to ask you, what
Mhm.
exactly is that song referring to?
Somebody out there on the planet did something that they weren't supposed to do. So your girl got mad and she wrote a song.
I like it. Man, you gotta
Yeah.
use that energy. That's how you do it. If y'all watching and
In a
listening,
positive way.
Tiffany Jaye is on the move. You see this?
Come on
Yeah,
now.
use that energy and make music with that. Making music with
Come
the
on now.
emotion, you create some monsters sometimes.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, work for it.
See,
Ah,
she know what she talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I think when I link up with people, excuse me, when I link up with people, I'll be like, yeah, tell me what you want. And I'm gonna make you work for it. So you better be careful what you ask for. All right?
mm,
Oh, tell us
mm.
Okay.
about yourself. When did you
Hmm.
start getting into music? Why you get into music? Is this something
When,
that's a
where,
family
why?
thing or
My family, they are very talented, and I found out when I met my dad how we are so much alike. He's a drummer, he does photography, he's been teaching and things like that. So it's very near and dear to my heart that it's all up in the genes. And my mom, she sings, my uncle sings. They didn't necessarily want to do it publicly. He more so does that. My father does. I started officially singing in public at age 13 in church, in front of people. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I think I can do that. And then, looking at Destiny's Child and everybody coming up, being 16, I'm like, these people doing this for real. Like, this could actually be a thing. But it's just like football, basketball. It's
yeah?
a one in a million lifetime type of a situation. So you get ready to go to like a record label and realize there's so much more. It's not really just the music. There's more to the package that's necessary when it comes to the deals are concerned. And that's what I've been spending all this time working on. I've been spending my time working on the branding, the personality, the skill set as far as being able to perform and entertain on the stage, work the audience, you know what I mean? Work the people that you just randomly see after you get off a stage, work the interview, all of that stuff. Tell me what you want, make you work for, all of that. So, music is definitely a space where I can channel the energy that I didn't necessarily know how to put words to it. It's a universal language. You guys picked up on it. You understood. It's the first time anybody ever came to me and said, "Are you throwing shots at somebody? Like, what's really going on?" So you picked up on it because I was mad. And so, but I'm cool now. I'm still able to just take all of that and put it in the song and literally just leave it there. I think it's one of the most healthiest things that you can do to take it and create something from it. And hopefully, whether it's another lady, another guy, or whomever it is, that you can learn from it and know that you don't have to stay there. You
Because
know?
music is like your therapy.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
I want to ask you, what are give me two of your favorite Disney classics? I'm saying they said that you were into Disney classics.
Um, Beauty and the Beast and the Little Mermaid, and we're gonna put
Word.
Okay,
Aladdin in
yeah,
there
okay,
because
Aladdin.
we
yeah,
because we miss Robin Williams.
I got
You
a
know?
yeah.
question.
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
Aladdin is one of your favorite,
Hmm.
did you watch the remake Aladdin? The
I
live action?
did. Now
Did.
it took, yeah, with Will Smith.
I
Mhm.
think
What I love
personally,
about
I
it
think it
is
did good. You did?
you
DJ
didn't like it.
Love?
Up top,
I
yeah,
liked
yeah.
it. I liked it.
What? Yeah. Why you
It
shut
was
me
I
down?
kind of
liked it.
corny. It was kind of corny. I tell you what I
Disney
did
is
like.
always corny, man.
I would tell you what I did like, and people was hating on it. The new Cinderella, the
I
one
didn't
that
see
just
it.
dropped
I didn't
like
I
see it.
haven't
last
seen that
week.
either.
It was
I
up
seen
to date.
Lion King, Aladdin. I didn't see Cinderella.
Lion King was dope.
The Cinderella, Lion King was okay.
Mm,
Are you talking about the newest Cinderella
yeah, yeah,
that
just
just recently came out? I didn't see that yet because I was like, let me wait on it. I'm not in the right headspace. Um, I love that. I love that Aladdin is, I guess the only thing I didn't really care too much for was sometimes they do so much with women's empowerment, and I know they had Jasmine have her own little story or whatever, so they did that. But I believe that's the time and the space that we're in right now. I just finished talking to, and we were talking about how in 1975 there were 9 things that women couldn't do. We couldn't get a house, we couldn't do credit, we couldn't get birth control pills. Like there's a lot of stuff that we couldn't do just kind of around the corner.
This
So
is true.
I do understand why they did that for Aladdin and made Jasmine her own, kind of side story. That's all.
But that is true. They do a lot where it's starting to become noticeable. Where it's like, hey man, we get it. SJW, we're all with it, man. But god dang, they put in everything. You ever see
Wonder Woman, yeah,
Wonder
mm,
Woman's reasonable. It's Wonder Woman. She's supposed to be
mm.
SJW.
of
But
course, of course.
listen, man, look, I was on Netflix. I'm watching He-Man, and He-Man dies. It's
You
the
watching
show is
what?
He-Man. Y'all ever see He-Man?
Yeah.
It's He-Man.
No what? Yeah.
It's supposed to be He
She-Ra,
Man, not She Man.
She-Ra's the main character. I was like, man, am
Oh
I
wow.
tripping? I was like, why y'all kill He-Man off? He-Man dies. Spoiler alert. Sorry.
Mm.
He's bro.
She said, "Oh, okay."
I'm like,
I'll check it
I'm like,
out.
look,
I'll check
man,
it
y'all
out.
got killed
Wow.
off our favorite action dudes. I'm I'm all with the women empowerment, but wait, hold on, that's He-Man, bro.
Girl
They doing
power.
a
Well,
lot
just
of
give us
media
our
with that.
space. Give us our space. Give us our time so that we can, feel empowered and do what we need to do. I think we are just now defining, especially Black women, we're defining who we are in this
Ah,
space,
that's
and
true.
it's gonna take time to like figure out what that is. And there's a lot of women directors coming around, taking control of things. So it's a good space to be in, and we'll see what happens as long as the men give us room to do so.
Oh, we definitely gonna give you room because we
Oh
don't want to get
yeah.
canceled. I ain't trying to make no apologies like the baby. Oh, I'm sorry for the recent
About that.
the first 3 minutes. Listen, we ain't gonna talk about his
Yeah, about that.
shenanigans. This
Well,
is your moment now. Let's
Hey,
talk
so
when
we
did
about
talk
you?
about you singing the national anthem. That's
Yes.
big. That's a serious song.
Mm.
It's very difficult
were
for a
you
lot of
super
people.
nervous?
The national anthem is something, depending where you start, it's like the whole next octave. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So depending on where you start will determine if you actually have the range to handle that song. Okay.
mm,
Am I ever nervous singing that? No. I'm always nervous before I sing, but I think you're asking me because of the magnitude of what the song is,
mhm,
and not for the song. No. I've studied and I've studied well. So I followed behind Whitney and Mariah. Now, if I can
mhm.
follow behind them, then you already know the national anthem is just
Salute,
another
all right.
whatever. And that was one of the major things I wanted to learn. My music manager, OG Neal for 646 Entertainment, he say that if you can do that as a warm up, you're ready.
Mhm.
And I'm preparing for the Super Bowl. So I'm just waiting. I see your Steelers hat. I'm just waiting for a moment in time in the future where,
Me too.
you know, I can walk on that stage.
Yeah, because you can
No
sing
doubt.
if you can sing that. You
Oh
really,
yeah.
you can
Yeah.
blow.
You said
Yes.
what?
I just
You
you can
say
sing
you
if
can
you can
sing if you can sing
sing
that.
that. Yeah, really. Like these other people be
It makes
faking
you
it.
sing anything.
Oh, we not
What
singers,
was it?
so we don't
Who was
know.
it that was? What is it? Fergie? What was
Fergie.
that?
Yeah. Let's play
I don't
baseball.
mean to put you on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
Did she forget the words or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
that's how.
yeah.
Oh, let
That's
me
not a
ask you
good
this:
look.
have you ever had an
Okay.
embarrassing moment like that, where you forgot words, or you got too nervous, or your voice is cracking too much, anything like that? Tell us about your first time getting out there in front of people in the church.
Okay. What? What's easy is what you know. Let me. Y'all can hear me though, right?
It just I
Okay,
can hear you now.
there we go. Okay, so what's easy is what you know. I think the essence of singing will always be true, and nobody can deny that. Now, when I started performing, I would close my eyes and I couldn't see anything, so that was great. When I started to come outside of my comfort zone as far as the performance is concerned, that's when I remember you could see the jitters as far as in my hands. So I had to work
Hmm.
on that. You couldn't hear me as well because the mic was too far from my face. So I had to work on that. That was my feedback, that I got as far as criticism. I have maybe forgotten the words like once, and I would say recently, let's say within the last 5 years. And when I did that, you just be like, and then you just smile, and then you just fa la 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 da da da, just keep it going. They be like, yo, she did that, because you can do
Okay.
anything in a live performance,
So you so
so
you
that's
covered it up
when.
real nicely. Oh.
Exactly. So you have to. There was a time recently with the Fleet DJs, you guys, Florida. I'm singing "Calling Me," and I think I got so into it, and I did something different in the chorus, to where
Mhm.
in my mind I'm like, all right, what's the second verse? What's the second verse? Oh shoot! And because I had been rehearsing it, it came like second nature, and so I kind of surprised myself. Now that's something that I pride myself on as far as what MJ does. He rehearses and he rehearses and he rehearses, and next thing you know, it's just in you. So that, I think,
You mean
is
Michael
what's
Jackson?
gonna. Yes, I
That's
think
one of
that's
your
what's going to. Yes, I think that's what's going to save me at all times. Like letting yourself loose to the music and just losing control and letting it like come into you. But as far as being nervous, that is something. Being an introvert, you may not think that I am now. I'm very shy,
introvert like
but I have, yeah, but I have prepared, obviously, for this. I've been on high all day today, because I had to coach somebody at my job. But um, lost my train of thought. Being an introvert, da, 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 what was that? Michael
yeah, I got
Jackson
some questions.
performing.
Being an
Dang.
introvert, how is it? Isn't it
Yes.
challenging getting out there?
So when I was 17, I went to A&M Records to see if I could get signed. Now, I am a girl who's in academically gifted classes. I'm in international baccalaureate classes. It's all about your book smarts and things like that. So I thought, okay, I sound good, I look good, my manager's gonna speak for me, and then I'm gonna get the deal. And the lady, she's there, and she's like, we're gonna put $2 million into you. And I was just like, yeah. And then the interview was just pretty bland. I'm sorry for the feedback. The
No, you
interview was
good.
very bland, and I realized at the end when I got back home from California, I didn't get it because of my lack of personality. I cried. My mom cried because she felt like it was how she raised me. I was sheltered, and they were like, "You might as well go to school, try to, get more out there and things like that." And I worked at the YMCA. I had an alter ego, Juanita Pickles, and I tried to embody everything in my life around figuring out who this other person is. Now, Tiffany Jaye is only 3 years old. Okay, because you see, my latest work for it is in 2019, I believe. So 1920, yeah, 3 years old. And so I even had to redefine who I was as an artist from Tiffany Taylor. Tiffany Taylor is from the glamorous, let's say, 30s, 40s, and 50s, that jazz music, Dorothy Dandridge, Nat King Cole, stuff like that. So I had to figure out, okay, who is she now? And so Work For It was, I think, the perfect debut song. Being an introvert, I do have performance anxiety. I've learned to basically breathe, you know, um, and you just breathe until you calm down, and then you trust that you are who you've been. And I just pretend that when I'm in my room, I pretend I'm on stage, and when I'm on stage, I pretend I'm in my room, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
so anytime I'm at a club, anytime that I'm somewhere where there's a lot of music, I dip off and I get wherever the speakers are, I get there, and then I zone out and pretend I'm in the concert. And I just pretend this is my stage, and I do my thing, because it's not about, like, I can't be an artist worrying about what other people are thinking. I have to just
Yeah.
let go and let loose. And the more that I do that, the easier it becomes. Now, there are moments as far as being an introvert, I have to pull away. Like after this this interview, I'm gonna go home and go to sleep and watch, I don't know, Netflix or whatever. And so I make sure that I pour back into myself so that I can be fresh for the next day. And I recognize that I'm not the girl that if we had a show and we had an appearance, I'm gonna go to the appearance 30 minutes, 1 hour. Can I go back to the hotel now, please, so I can just chill? So that's me. If I'm around a good, if it's just us four, I'm cool. The fifth person to me makes it a crowd, and it's not that because I don't want to be around people. It's just too much, and I'm okay with that. I've learned to accept that, and I'm okay.
It does seem
Yeah.
challenging, but it does seem that you found plenty of practices to try to
Yeah.
get through it. That is pretty interesting, especially the mental imaging, putting yourself
Hmm.
around music, imagine yourself being in the moment on stage in front of those strangers that you
Yeah.
never met, don't know, that's here to hear some good
Mhm.
music.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
good to hear. I'm sure plenty of other artists can and have been using those same practices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
When did you move from Brooklyn to North Carolina? When did that happen?
So I was a baby in Brooklyn and we were in Manhattan in the Harlem area
Okay.
until I was 8. And then we
Mm.
came in 94 in the summertime because I started school in the 3rd grade. And it was a pretty tragic experience because a lot of people wasn't coming down here from up north, and there was the, I don't want to say language barrier, but the cultural barrier as far as like with
Mhm.
the accents and things like that. So I'm not sitting here trying to rep New York or anything like that, but it was just because I had started my schooling there, it was difficult coming down here.
From New
And
York
I
to North
remember,
Carolina seems extreme.
yes, I had a kid, he was like, "Hey yo, go open the door." And I was like, "The what?" And he was like, "The door." And I was like, "I don't know." And I asked him like 3 times. And when he did this, he said, "Go up," and I was like, "Yo, you didn't have to do
Oh,
that." Yeah.
Yeah.
When he did that, it kind of put me way back into my shell. And I didn't really, like, I was like, yeah, I'm not
it's
talking to
crazy how
nobody. I don't want nobody here.
you can't understand a lot of things from different cultures, but you can understand disrespect from the minute
And
Yeah,
you
that
that's
never
like,
exactly
hold
what
changes.
that
on,
was.
man. They can be speaking a whole different language. You was
Mhm.
like, that was disrespect. Let me backhand
Exactly.
somebody real quick. Ah,
Exactly. So this me 8 years old, and I'm just like, yo, like
yeah.
I'm thinking for my own people, y'all gonna embrace me, but it was nothing of the such. So
Mm,
I just kind of stuck with the white girls, because I mean, not to say, but they spoke proper, and I understood what they were talking about, and so it took a minute for me to adjust and really feel like I was at home. My middle school, I met these 3 girls. They were really cool, but everybody from middle school was going somewhere far away. And I was supposed to go to Independence High School, which was about like 5 minutes away from the house. So in the middle of the summer, I made a decision. I said, you know what? I can't do this again. Wherever these girls are going to school, I'm going to go with them. They're like my best friends, from middle and high. And I just made
Mhm.
the switch in the middle of the summer to go to that high school just so I didn't have to repeat starting over again. Um, if I would have went to Independence, I probably would have been a different person today.
hmm
And I chose sticking with what was more comfortable at the time versus being thrown into these new scenarios because my home environment also wasn't supporting the change, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do
Okay.
you regret that or anything at this point in your life?
No, I do not regret that. I am smart enough and I've been through therapy once and I'm back in it again for my second time, as far as my second session was just yesterday. But I understand, like, a lot of things in the black community, we kind of say, oh, that's normal, but it actually isn't.
Mm.
And it was brought to my attention things
That's
that were going on in the home, and I said, okay. And so, but it's not my fault, and it's not even like my parents' fault. They did the best that they could do for where they were. One of my homegirls,
Mhm.
she has 2 kids now, and I was at her house just chilling. She was making us all food, but when I saw her, I switched and I was like a kid again, and I saw my mom and her, and I was like, yo, like she is really here trying to put this rice in the steam fryer, trying to get this stuff ready for these kids. It's the same thing, but now we the same age. And I was like, my mom was just doing the best that she could do for what she was. So
true.
I apologized to her and my grandmother because I was mad for a very long time. And I felt like I guess lack of success for a better lack of a better term. I felt like I was being held back because of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
now that you know what you need to know, you have to just let that go and be free and now live and do the best that you can do for you.
I
So
tell
that's
people
what
that
I'm
all
trying to
the
do.
time. Like
Mhm. Mhm.
people hold on to their parents. Oh, my parent ain't do this and that. Like, bro, they ain't perfect. They wasn't born
They're
perfect.
not.
And we put
Yeah.
this image in our head that our parents and our friends
Yep.
gotta be the people we expect them to be. And that's unrealistic. Like people
It
will
is.
always be weak. They will always fall victim to something. And that's okay. Let them
It is.
crawl through it. It doesn't mean you
Yeah.
gotta hate
Yeah.
them or cut them off. It's just you gotta learn to deal with them in certain magnitudes. And that's it. That's
Mhm.
it.
You're right.
Can I ask
You're
you?
right.
Um, you have a comment that says common everyday affairs as well as world issues in your music. What do you mean by world issues or common everyday affairs? It's like what's going
Common
on, or
common everyday affairs are kind of like what we just maybe talked about, right? I would
Mhm.
love to, when I was getting ready to meet my dad at 23, I wrote a song.
23.
Um, yeah, so I wrote a song
Mhm.
about that situation. And um, I recall it now, but that's an example. Like I had an opportunity because I thought I was never going to meet him, and it came up, and I said I need to write about this. So that's an affair that I can go through. Like I'm curious to see what he was thinking about when he was about to meet me. There's dads and girls across the world that have that kind of gap or
Strange
link up.
relationship. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So
What?
there's
Let me
that.
ask you. Like, how did that come to be? Because it's rare, and most people they be like, I don't want to talk to him. He ain't want to see me in 20
No,
years or whatever.
no, no. So my dad there's four of us under him, and the other three are still in New York. There's an older one. She's like in her 40s. There's one that's a month after me, same year, and I was like, what? And then there's Dorian's probably like I don't know, maybe a good 15 or whatever years under us. And so when I was young, I just assumed that the male that was with the mom was the dad. Like that's what I just thought. And I think that's
Like
what most
all
kids
of us.
think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the dad. And I didn't ask any questions.
Yep.
But that's why I said everything coming down to North Carolina kind of opened my eyes to color, to skin tone, like to all of these things that are like different. And it made me stick out. And I was just like, okay, what's wrong? So I come down here. My sister is like 2, 8. And everyone's like, oh, they're talking about her. You look like your mom and your dad. Now, my sister's dad is dark skinned. My mom, we're pretty much the same complexion. And she looks like him. And I'm like, well, nobody said anything about me. Like,
Yep.
not at all.
That's
So
how it
I'm
usually
sitting here.
start. That's where the
Yeah,
questions start. I've been
I was
there. I'm
trying to
like, hold
figure
on, what
out.
you say? Hmm?
Right. I'm trying to figure out, okay, so what's up? And I just logged it away. And then what really did it was I was on the playground and one of the kids, he fell. Like he just fell on top of me. And then, but his tooth kind of like broke skin
Ooh,
on my
jeez.
forehead. And so because of that, we had to get tested to make sure everybody was okay. So, everybody's bringing out their birth certificates. So I looked at mine and I didn't have anything on my father's side. And I said, I was confused because I'm taking on different last names, but on my birth certificate it's only like the one.
How old were you?
So this was this is elementary school.
Yeah, man. Elementary school. I would have been
Mm.
looking at the birth certificate that deep.
So then right after that, my parents at the time, they got divorced. And but even after the birth certificate thing, I got my name. I dropped off my sister's dad's um his name, and I just kept it with my mom's maiden name. And
Okay.
because I was like, well, if it ain't, I'm trying to figure out who the dad is. And then when they divorced, that's when I think when I got to middle school, I think I just asked her. I was like 12, 13 or something like that. I just asked her, and I was like, when were you going to tell me? And she said, when the time is right. And I'm looking at her like, you going to tell me now?
Mm.
So that's when the quest kind of like began. But that's what I'm saying. That move from Brooklyn to Manhattan, that's what that was. It was like the discommunication, the disconnect. So I have no idea, you know what I'm saying? Because he was seeing me when I was a baby, but after that she moved and then that was it.
So
So
she
that's
she
between him
bought
and
him out. So you had to go
yeah.
find him.
Yeah,
Mm.
so what happened was we went to my grandparents' house, we looked at some photos, tried to get some information. We only found one picture and it was like he's this small. And I was like,
It
okay,
was
and he was like,
enough
yeah, you
though.
look just like him. It was enough. And they said you had the same eyes. And so now I'm looking at all these guys with, hazel eyes,
Yo,
thinking, you my daddy, you my
yeah. I didn't notice the eyes. I'm
daddy.
like, oh, this can't be
Yeah,
that hard. Hazel
right,
eye,
because it's
black
only a
eye.
few. Yeah.
Mm.
So it came up again when I was in college, and she said, "Oh, I think he was Puerto Rican or whatever," because my roommate was Puerto Rican and Dominican, and I was like, "Oh, really? Tell me more." And she was like, I don't know," and I was like, "Man, you just ain't saying nothing."
This is mom.
So, mhm.
Mom
So
always be pulling that game, man. I don't know why they be playing like, mom, just
acting
tell
like
me.
right. So left it alone. So then, my senior year, I'm pledging, and she calls me, and I was like, I can't talk to you right now because we're busy. And then I called her the next day, and then I said, so what's up? She was like, well, I have your father's number. And I said, is my sister's dad or is this my dad? She was like, I have your father. And I said, okay, are you okay with this? Like, is everything all right? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, how'd you get the information? So a mutual friend between them, her birthday is November 3rd, which is right before election day. So he had seen my dad, and he also was in contact with her, and he was like, "Yo, linked you up with so and so." So that's how I got his number. And the very first conversation that we had, um, we talked for like 45 minutes, and
That's
That's a
cool.
long time. It probably
yes,
felt
Mm-hmm.
like 3 hours, didn't it? Like, yo,
it
I've
was
never get off
yeah,
the
cause
phone with
I was
this
like,
guy.
I don't even know. I was like,
Right.
I
But
did
that's like my
this.
dad though.
So, that next, I think, because I was a senior, so that next year, because I asked her, I was like, well, we got to meet him. And she was like, oh, yeah, we'll go for like New Year's. I was like, that's a lot because we're going to be in church. So, whatever. I said, I think I'm going to have to take matters into my own hands and
Yep.
meet him. So, I took my first check, like during spring break, because I was subbing in the school system at the time. And, I've been in contact with him, and I said, I'm just going to take the Amtrak and I'm just going to go up there. And I went up there and I had that's when I wrote the song about him and everything. And I had all of these thoughts of how it's supposed to be, not realizing it ain't gonna be nothing like what you thought. By the
Right.
time I got to Jersey, he plays in a band. Like I said, he's a drummer, he does photography, he's a teacher, and this and that. So we
Cool.
get to Jersey and I'm letting him know, all right, I'm in Jersey. So I'm thinking you're gonna be there at the train station. It's gonna be like slow motion, it was none of that. He was like, well, I'm still in rehearsal, so I'm gonna need you to meet me on such and such a street. And I was like, all right, I
Oh,
ain't been up here.
he had a whole life. He's like, yo, man, we gonna do
Yeah.
this. You gotta meet me halfway. That is kind of
So,
strange.
whoo, it was a lot. So, I said, okay, you got to bring those instincts back. You were up here by yourself. You need to act like you know what you're doing. So don't nobody, you know what I'm saying, step all over you. So, I got off the train and I just looked. It was one street and it said Madison Square Garden. I just said, Madison Square Garden, because it makes sense. Like, just go over there. And I said, it's gonna be a hot dog guy up the street. Let me ask him where it's at. So I went up there. I asked him. I said, where this is, and then go ahead. And then he immediately told me what street to go to. I went to the street. I got on the phone to talk to somebody. So it looked like, oh, hey, girl, I'm just waiting for somebody. So it didn't look like I was just standing there, like just
Hmm.
on the corner, looking occupied.
Mm-hmm.
And then he eventually pulled up in a van. And what was so surreal was because as a female, you're meeting a stranger, right? But this is really half of the reason why I'm here on the planet. So it
Hmm.
was just it was
It's
weird.
deep. It's
And
deep. It's so deep. It's
he
hard
got
to
out the car.
explain.
It is very deep. He got out the car, and the first thing he did, he was like, "Hey, love," and he hugged me and he kissed me on my cheek. And I was like, "Wow!" Like I don't even really know, like
Yeah,
what to do.
this stranger just literally just touched you like, but he's a reason you're part of the reason you're here existing.
Literally. So
Mm-hmm.
we go back to his place, and every single night I was there for a week. Every single night he would pull up a chair and just kind of like stare at me and look at me, and we would talk for a little bit, and then he would be like, I'm just so in awe. He was like, I did not know where you were. Like I feel like I'm looking in a mirror. And I was just like,
Mm.
wow.
Were
And when
you
I met the other siblings, go ahead, go ahead.
okay?
When what?
He had other siblings by the time you met him.
He has
I mean,
I
other
had other
children.
siblings that I had to meet. I had all this family I had to meet. I met his mom. It was just it
So
was a lot.
surreal.
Yeah, and I was like, these are the people that look just like me. You see what I'm saying? Because
You see the
usually
whole
from your
other
Mm.
side. Yup.
from your father's seed, those are the people that you
Dominant
really look
gene.
like.
Hmm.
Exactly. So I saw his eyes. I saw all of that. We went to the supermarket, and the girl behind the register thinking we twins because he really got good genes. Like they
Mm.
thinking not twins, but like we brother and sister, and he just my
Right.
older. So I was like, yeah, this is nice. He took me to several clubs, and he was just showing me off because he was very excited.
Have
That
y'all
I
ever
was
did
I was
music
back.
together since y'all both into music?
No, we have not.
Do you want to
Maybe
at
it
all?
maybe in the future. One of his boys sent me a track that I have on my very first album. We've done that. I think if it's going to happen, it will. I'm not at a rush for it to happen.
Right. I
Um,
would be excited
I'm
to
just
see that father daughter track.
right.
No, yeah, I
I
want to
will
see a
keep
little
that.
bit.
I will keep that in mind. I didn't think about that. I hadn't thought about that.
I mean,
I
once you
hadn't.
say he was in the music, I got
That's
hella
what you were
Yeah,
questions.
thinking.
Like,
goosebumps.
yo, because you said
Yeah.
your mom sang too, though, right?
Yes.
We come
Yes.
from both sides, so she get a little bit
Yeah.
of both from both.
Yeah.
So
It's in there.
he's a musician.
He's a drummer. Like he's a drummer. And so when I was in the sorority and I'm making up all the steps, I'm
Mm.
like, that's where it come from. Like, cause I could see that. Like I'm
That
coming up with all the
rhythm.
rhythms and yeah.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, I get it now. And all the stuff that I couldn't answer, why am I this? Why am I that? It's cause he be like that. He's very energetic. I have two favorite colors, orange and like teal turquoise. And teal turquoise is very cool, calm, collective. And my
Yes.
mom, I feel like is that. He is the orange. He's the pizzazz because it's New York, state of mind. You know what I'm
Orange is
saying? They're both
always just out there. Yes. Hmm.
exactly. Exactly. And so that's what he reminds me of. And he had came down one time to Charlotte, and that was the first time I seen them together in real life. I seen them in a picture, but that was the first time I seen them together, sitting on the
So
couch.
mom's the introvert side, dad's the extrovert. So you got
That's what it looked like.
the
Hmm.
best of both opposite worlds, huh?
Yes.
That's a
Yeah.
hard balance.
Mm.
Because you're trying to figure out why am I over here? Why am I over here? Like, what
So
is that?
sometimes you be in a group, you be in a crowd. Sometimes you feeling it. Sometimes you not. It's because of these two different sides. Sometimes you by yourself, and sometimes you like, I need to be around some people. I need to hear somebody say something.
Mm.
That's
But
pretty
I,
tough.
I think I'm well in the more recent years, because I do Purple Charlotte Steppers Club. So when I'm around them, I feel like
Mm.
I'm at home, and I feel like I can do whatever I want to do because they're my people. They get me. They love to dance, and if you love to dance, you obviously love the music that you dance to. So around them, I can fully be myself. And I remember we had something a few years ago in Atlanta or wherever it was, and I didn't compete that year. I just danced like I did. My sister's dad, he would play his records every night, and I would just dance. And that's all I did. I closed my eyes. If I wasn't dancing with a partner, I'd be like, I paid for this. I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm just going to dance and just dance to the music. And that's really it. Where people,
All
it's
night.
not bumping and grinding. It's just the two step and it's just the dance, and that's really it. And just getting into the zone. So, yeah.
Since you just said something about bumping the grind, a quick question: Is is twerking dancing or is it a mating thing? I don't know. Twerking feels good to me. Talk to
It
me.
is, I believe twerking can be an art. Okay. If you do it in a performance manner, there's a girl called Queen and Letos that I follow on Instagram, and they do that, but it's like with choreography. Now, I'm definitely down for that and the intricacy of how
You
it's
said
put together.
twerking choreography. You said her name is Queen and
Queen
Leto.
in Letos, yes. Please
And
look her up.
Meadows.
She's really cool. Hmm. But if you're
Let me
just
see this
doing it,
twerking choreography.
ooh, if you're just doing it where like if people go into lingerie parties and that's all they doing just twerk 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 twerk, that's a little bit to me it's like all right, this is unattractive. Like and I just see a whole bunch of women and that's all they're doing. I don't care too much for that. Because everybody's doing the same thing. I feel like you're looking stupid, you're looking ignorant, and it's just like, okay, what else is there? You just showing your ass. Go to the bedroom somewhere. That's how I feel about it. But if it's within choreography, because I love to dance and I love that world, there's an art to it. Then okay,
Well, you be
that's
killing
my.
it though. You do. Do you do all the new popular challenge dances too?
I have not. I need time. I'm supposed to be learning Beyonce's Speechless for a DJ, and it's 6 minutes long. And so I'm like, okay, I can do it, but sometimes you have to be in the right headspace.
Yes, as an
And
artist.
when I did the choreography for Work For It, so Work For It came about as a boot camp kind of project. It was the introduction of Tiffany Jaye. It was me learning how to put on makeup. It was me basically establishing my name. It was me figuring out my branding, my like
Mm.
fitting my clothes for me and the sound. And then we got to the choreography section. So the guy, he was like, "Yeah, I seen you. I peeped you. Like I know you can dance." But I'm self conscious because I hadn't even danced in a minute. But they was like, "You got it." So when I look back at the stills and the shots at me versus the two girls that dance on a consistent basis, there's a difference between technique. If you got it, you got it. And what I looked at when I looked at the stills, my foot, if it's supposed to be directly in the middle, it was directly in the middle, whereas theirs was a little cocked to the side. And so what that taught me was, Tiffany, you have the skills, the it factor, whatever it is that nobody can define, it just is in you. So you have it. Whenever I get to the point where I can do this at a full time, on a full time basis, people better watch out because that's it. It's a wrap. So
Yeah.
that's all I'm gonna say about that.
I can't wait to see some future videos.
Wow.
She said, "Yeah, my foot in the middle, dance a little to the side." She knew it. She like, "Hey, I got it. I'm the gifted. I'm the
Well, no,
chosen
because
one."
uh,
but you stupid because I was self conscious and I was like, nah, these girls they been dancing, but I'm whoever's on here, I'm gonna send you, I'm gonna find you on Instagram and I'm gonna send you the picture and I'm gonna show you what I mean. Like when you watch people's technique, where have you ever looked at Michael Jackson's his performances and they
yeah, I
went
love
into
Michael Jackson.
detail. Yeah, so they went into detail into This Is It, and they were talking about you guys have to be an extension of Michael.
Mm.
Now, his newer stuff, you could see because sometimes I watch Michael and sometimes I watch the people behind him to see how good they are dancing like him. Michael got like idiosyncrasy, like he got twerks about him or quirks about him that's only him. You know what I mean? And you could tell when it's
Oh
him and when it's not. So that's the thing that I mean as far as the technique that people have or they don't. Like it's just there's this thing that's there. And so that's what I noticed and I noticed it in myself when I did the I'll repost it. I'll repost it after today. And I'll show you what I did with the choreographer and I'll repost those pictures and you can look at what I'm talking about and you'll see what I mean.
I
So,
found you
yeah.
on Insta, by the way.
cool.
But yo, share them socials, man. Let the people know where you
So
from, how to
people,
find you.
For real.
people if you don't know where to begin, you can put in Tiffany J, and J is spelled Jaye. All right, it's just a twist on my middle name, but Jaye. You can put that in Google, and all of the profiles are going to pop up. And what profiles do I mean? That's going to be TJAYE Taylor. Okay, so that'll be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, all of the above. You'll find me there, and that's
Google,
my website as well.
And you got a website too? Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. So
she on her
everything
game.
Yeah,
Mhm.
everything will pop up. So when you put in Tiffany J, it'll say musical artist, it'll say my bio, and then it'll say the website, and it'll say all the profiles, and it'll say the songs. Oh, everything's there. Like
Gotcha.
everything, I'm like, yeah, this is on point.
Yeah, you definitely about your business. You working it for sure.
Working for it.
All right. I know we took a lot of time and we didn't want the police to get
It's all
you.
right.
Yeah, the police pulled up on you like,
Nah,
they're
it
like,
wasn't the police.
hey,
He was
that's
a
like this.
patrol guy. He was a patrol
Oh,
guy.
Hey,
oh, oh,
that
we sitting here
control
thinking
Yeah,
it
Just
guy.
was
that's why I was
security.
like,
Hey, you
Just
good?
security.
Hey, you good? I'm like, bro, you ain't see all
Oh,
these
he
views.
had the
Y'all
flashlight, bro.
can't
He
touch
had a
us.
gun.
That's
He like,
it.
man, he cocked that stuff like Terminator. Shh, you good? I'm like, bro, get back in the car, bro. We just talking on the phone. You good? Like, bro, you dual wielding? You good? I quit, man.
I'm over it. Y'all
Right.
stupid. That's what he
Tell,
was talking about.
hey,
He was sitting posted somewhere watching me, and I'm like, well, you see me chilling, like,
tell him
what?
he on a podcast. Tell him where to find us.
Right.
Like, oh, that
Yeah.
was me. I'm glad I ain't killed nobody,
Right. It's been all over. We would have been
Exactly.
viral like crazy. Like, dude,
bro.
Oh
really?
We
yeah.
have been famous for the wrong reasons.
Right. This dude.
Exactly. That's exactly. You just said it. Famous for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
quit, man.
man.
Hey, get out those streets, girl. You go home. Get say that it's getting dark. You can't be in the
Right.
parking lots
Right.
that long.
I
Man.
appreciate y'all. This has been fun. I want to do this again. Let me know where y'all. You're in Columbia,
Oh,
Ohio, right?
home
Columbus,
Ohio State
Ohio.
Columbia.
Buckeyes. What?
She said Columbia,
Columbus,
Ohio
Ohio.
I'm
State
trying to.
Buckeyes.
That's where y'all at. Y'all in
I'll take
Ohio.
it. That's close enough. Columbus,
Thank you.
like
I
the dude
tried.
who
Hey,
I
discovered
know.
America,
I
quote
know. I
unquote.
know. I
yeah,
know.
we don't claim that.
We in his city.
We
One
ain't
of
gonna
them
blame
did.
But we
that.
definitely want to say that you are like fam now, and like we always like. I want to use this old saying, man. You come on in the house. You ain't got to knock. Just do a
Yeah.
little.
Mm.
Yeah.
Come on in. You want something to drink, something
Can
to eat? Go on in the refrigerator, get
Hey,
it.
y'all gotta tell me about
Man.
these southern sayings, man. I
There
only
you
know
go.
mi casa, su casa. That's in movies and
That's the way.
stuff.
It's the
Like,
new rules, fam.
all
Just
right,
come
Yeah.
on
yeah,
in.
well, yeah, man. Don't ask me
right.
for nothing to
Right.
drink. You come
Yeah,
over,
don't
bro.
be.
I
Can
be
I get a
hating that. Like,
sandwich?
no, be thirsty, bro. It's only
Come on
enough
in.
for me. Like, bro, go get some juice. Get on my face.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
TV.
Man. You
Like,
drop
man,
something, drop a new video, new
you
track,
okay? I'll get some
album, whatever.
cranberry juice. Yeah,
Holla
when that
back at
I'll
us.
album
let you
coming
know.
out?
I'll let you know.
All
Okay,
right, all
we
right.
Most
still in
definitely.
wait mode.
Now
We
we
still
want to
in
see the
wait
video. Do
mode.
you have a video for calling? For
Not
calling?
for calling me. I have a lyrical video. I am still in the search for a videographer. The guy that did work for it, I cannot find him. I don't know what happened, but it could be something with the pandemic, and I just hope and pray that he's okay. Because
Mm,
after that, like he just disappeared. I hit him up on Facebook, phone. So I just hope and pray that he's all right. That's really it. Big ups to him because the video work for it is dope, and
Yeah.
we did that in like 3 hours, and then he edited it, and I was just like, yes,
Only
this is what I'm
three
talking
hours?
about.
That's
So
it?
I'll be it don't take me long. I'm telling you, y'all, like when I
She be
say
on it.
I'm polished, and I yes, so when I all I need is we do the shot. Let me look at the camera and examine myself so I can figure out what I need to fix. All right, cool, I got this. And so being on both sides of the camera, you know what you're supposed to look like and know how you're supposed to like, fix yourself.
mm.
So it only took 3 hours, everything that you see, and then he edited it and that was it. So it's only
Hey,
when you're working with somebody that don't know what they're doing.
oh,
Like, hold
right.
on, man. I
Hmm.
can't get it to start.
I mean, like,
This camera a little new.
no, you do. you know,
Boy, you
Mhm.
gonna pull that camera phone out?
and let's right.
Uh,
Oh my god, oh my
Mhm.
god.
All right.
But yeah, uh, it's you found me on Instagram, so please DM me so that I can get everybody's information. Because I'm gonna post what I talked about as far as with the technique and let you know. And we definitely got to do this again once the video comes out. We definitely got to chit chat. I appreciate you guys. Again, my name is Tiffany Jaye, Tjaye Taylor. You guys pay attention to the fine details. I really like that a lot. This was the most fun interview that I've had because we just chit chat and we just talked. So I really enjoyed myself. Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
cool, cool. Hey.
Be safe going home now.
Yeah, man.
Will do. I
Get
will.
there. Call us when you get there.
All right,
Hey,
y'all. You
man.
take
You
care
in,
and y'all
let
have
us
a good night,
know.
okay?
You too. All right.
Yep,
All
yep.
right.
Good.